Anthony Kim just did something that has every golf expert, analyst, and critic scrambling to delete their takes and pretend they never doubted him. After 12 years of absence, countless write-offs, and an entire industry convinced his comeback was doomed to fail, Kim just delivered a performance so dominant that it's forcing the entire golf world to admit they got it catastrophically wrong. What did Kim actually do that left experts speechless? Why are analysts who mocked his LIV signing now desperately backtracking? And how did one player prove that the smartest minds in golf don't know nearly as much as they think they do? Let's be brutally honest about where the experts stood on Anthony Kim just months ago. When LIV Golf announced they'd signed Kim in 2024, the reaction from golf's most respected voices was brutal and unanimous. Golf Digest ran pieces questioning whether Kim could physically compete. ESPN analysts laughed on air, calling it a desperate publicity stunt. Sports Illustrated published analysis explaining why 12-year comebacks never work in professional golf. The consensus wasn't just skeptical, it was dismissive, condescending, and absolutely certain that Kim's return would end in embarrassment. Brandel Chambly, one of golf's most prominent analysts, said on Golf Channel that signing Anthony Kim was live throwing money at nostalgia with zero chance of competitive success. He predicted Kim wouldn't make a single cut and would quietly disappear again within 6 months, proving that Live was more interested in headlines than actual golf. That take got thousands of retweets and became the defining narrative around Kim's comeback. The experts had spoken. Kim was finished. This was going to be painful to watch. The early months seemed to prove them right. Kim's first Live events were rough, exactly what the experts predicted. Struggles with consistency, visible rust, a body that clearly hadn't competed at this level in over a decade. Every missed cut became vindication. Every bad round was evidence that the experts knew what they were talking about. Golf Twitter absolutely roasted Kim after each poor performance, with analysts pointing to his struggles as proof that their initial assessments were correct. The narrative was set in stone. Anthony Kim's comeback was a failure, just like everyone predicted. Then came Live Golf Adelaide, and everything the experts said got obliterated in the most spectacular way possible. Anthony Kim didn't just compete, he didn't just play well. He absolutely dominated one of the strongest fields LIV has assembled, beating Bryson DeChambeau, the league's biggest star, in a performance that left every expert who'd written him off looking absolutely foolish. The round wasn't lucky or fluky. It was surgical, controlled, the kind of golf that only elite players operating at peak levels can produce. But here's what makes this so devastating for the experts. They didn't just get the prediction wrong. They got the entire analysis wrong. Their fundamental understanding of what Kim was capable of, what 12 years away actually meant, and whether comebacks of this magnitude were possible. All of it was completely backwards. And now they're scrambling to explain how they missed it so badly. If you're loving this story, smash that like button and subscribe, because what the experts are saying now is absolutely shocking. Brandel Chambly, who confidently predicted Kim would fail and disappear, went on Golf Channel after Adelaide and delivered one of the most awkward walkbacks in sports media history. He said, and this is a direct quote, "I may have underestimated Anthony Kim's competitive drive and physical capabilities." May have underestimated? He literally said Kim had zero chance of competitive success 6 months earlier. That's not underestimating. That's being completely wrong about everything. But Chambly wasn't alone. Golf Digest, which published multiple pieces explaining why Kim's comeback was doomed, suddenly ran a new story titled "Anthony Kim's Stunning Resurgence: What We Can Learn." What we can learn? How about learning not to write definitive takes about things you clearly don't understand? The hypocrisy was immediate and brutal, and golf fans on social media absolutely destroyed them for the flip-flop. ESPN analysts who laughed at Kim's LIV signing were suddenly praising his determination and calling Adelaide one of the great comeback stories in sports. The same voices that mocked LIV for signing a washed-up player were now crediting the league for giving Kim the opportunity to resurrect his career. The revisionist history happened in real time, and it was genuinely embarrassing to watch. But here's what the experts got most wrong and what Kim's performance exposed about how modern golf analysis actually works. The experts based their predictions entirely on conventional wisdom and historical precedent. 12-year absences don't lead to competitive success in professional golf. Bodies don't recover from the injuries Kim suffered. Mental breaks that long create permanent damage. All of that is technically true based on past examples. The problem is that Anthony Kim isn't a past example. He's a completely unique case that broke every conventional model. The experts failed to account for modern training methods, advanced rehabilitation techniques, and the mental resilience required to even attempt a comeback after 12 years. They treated Kim like a player from the 1990s trying to return in 2024, ignoring that everything about sports medicine, fitness technology, and mental health support has evolved dramatically. Their analysis was outdated before they even published it. David Feherty, a former player turned analyst known for thoughtful commentary, admitted on his podcast that the entire golf media industry got Kim wrong because they stopped seeing him as an athlete and started treating him as a cautionary tale. He said experts became so invested in the narrative that comebacks like Kim's don't work that they ignored all evidence suggesting this specific comeback might be different. That's a remarkable admission from someone inside the industry, acknowledging that groupthink and narrative bias blinded everyone to what was actually happening. What makes the experts' failure even more damning is that people close to Kim were saying for months that he was ready, that the golf was there, that something special was building. But the experts dismissed those voices as biased or delusional because they contradicted the accepted narrative. When Bryson DeChambeau said weeks before Adelaide that Kim's game was coming together and people should watch out, analysts laughed it off as Bryson protecting his league. Turns out Bryson was the only one actually paying attention. The statistical analysis experts got wrong too is almost comical in hindsight. Multiple analytics-focused golf sites ran projections, showing Kim had less than 5% chance of winning a Live event in 2025. They built models based on age, time away from competition, and historical comeback success rates. The models said it was virtually impossible. Kim just proved that models built on incomplete data and flawed assumptions are worthless when faced with exceptional circumstances. But here's the most important thing Kim proved that the experts got catastrophically wrong. They said live golf was where careers go to die, that the league couldn't provide legitimate competitive opportunities, that results didn't matter because the format was fundamentally flawed. Kim beating Bryson DeChambeau at Live Golf Adelaide demolished all three claims simultaneously. The competition was legitimate. The format produced a meaningful result, and a career that was absolutely dead just got resurrected. The PGA Tour media, which has spent years arguing that LIV accomplishments don't count and LIV players aren't legitimate competitors, suddenly found themselves in an impossible position. If Kim's win doesn't matter because it happened on LIV, then why are you covering it? But if it does matter, then you've been wrong about LIV's legitimacy since the beginning. They chose to cover it extensively, which meant implicitly admitting their entire LIV narrative had cracks they couldn't explain away. Golf Twitter became a graveyard of deleted takes and embarrassed experts. Screenshots of confident predictions about Kim's failure circulated with brutal commentary. One viral tweet collected 10 different expert predictions that Kim would fail, paired with his Adelaide scorecard captioned, "Experts Explain Golf." The mockery was deserved and relentless. Even Tiger Woods, who rarely comments on LIV events, reportedly reached out to Kim personally to acknowledge the achievement. That validation from golf's greatest player meant more than any expert's backtracking ever could. And it highlighted something crucial. The actual great players understood what Kim accomplished because they compete at that level. The experts who'd never experienced 12-year absences or career-threatening injuries had no framework to accurately assess what Kim was attempting. What Anthony Kim proved at LIV Golf Adelaide goes way beyond one tournament result. He proved that expert consensus means nothing when it's built on flawed assumptions and narrative bias. He proved that comebacks everyone says are impossible might just require circumstances and support systems that didn't exist in previous eras. He proved that the human spirit's capacity to overcome and compete can't be captured in statistical models or historical precedent. And most importantly, he proved that every golf expert in the world who confidently declared his comeback doomed was spectacularly, embarrassingly, undeniably wrong. The experts won't admit it fully. They'll qualify their mistakes, claim they were just being realistic based on available information, and move on to the next confident prediction they'll probably get wrong. But Anthony Kim just taught the entire golf world a lesson they desperately needed. Sometimes the impossible happens. Sometimes 12 years doesn't kill a career. Sometimes the experts don't know what they're talking about. And sometimes a player with enough heart, talent, and determination can prove absolutely everyone wrong in the most spectacular way imaginable.